Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Health Check, where you have the opportunity to check in on you. Come on in, everyone. Remember to like as well as share. Health Check is sponsored by Kingdom Health Connections. Kingdom Health Connections is a health promotional resource center where it's all about cultivating a culture of health, wellness, and healing for you and the entire family. Come on in, everyone. I pray that you're doing well, and you are blessed this Tuesday morning. And I pray that you're having an awesome week thus far. As you tuned in on last week, Tuesday, and you heard that the topic was all for the month was about health behavior change. We're going to continue with that same rhythm the entire month, but different aspects of it. Did you know that more than 40% of chronic medical conditions are caused because of our behavior patterns? More than 40% of chronic medical conditions are caused as a result of our behavior patterns. And do you want to ask me why our behavior is so important and why health behavior change topic altogether is so important? Because majority of chronic medical conditions are caused by our behavior patterns. So that's the type 2 diabetes, that's hypertension, even stroke, high cholesterol, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, most cancers too as well. That's osteoporosis, that's gallbladder disease, that's obesity, and all the complications that come with it. You know, every chronic medical conditions has its own children, if you will. They have its own side effects. It has its own offspring. So once those things are present, those offspring can also be present as well. But did you know that behavior patterns have a huge factor with all of this? Most chronic medical conditions, the literature actually says anywhere from 70 to 80% of chronic medical conditions are preventable. They can be prevented. Why and how? Rather, by our patterns. Our behavioral patterns make a difference when it comes to the presence of these chronic medical conditions. But as I mentioned on last week, before we can change the behavior, we have to change the mindset. Because before the behavior even happens, it's triggered by the way we think. It's triggered by what we're not even thinking about. It's triggered by our thought patterns as it relates to our health. Do we even think our health is important? If we don't think it's important, we're going to do what we want to do when we want to do it, how we want to do it, as often as we want to do it. Because if we think it's important, we begin to move a little differently. And sometimes it's just a matter of we got to get our discipline in place, right? But before the behavior is the mindset, it's the way of thinking. And then the behavior change can then happen. And then that influences our life. So these are things that are very, very important. So we need to begin to think about what we're thinking about and what we're not thinking about. That's what we need to begin to think about it. What's our mind on the matter, as I asked last week, as it pertains to our health? What's our mind on the matter? Do we think our health is in a good shape? Do we need to make some improvements? Do we need to make some adjustments? We need to begin to think about what we're thinking about and what's been influencing our thought patterns. What's been influencing our thought patterns that then govern our behavioral patterns? Have we thought about that? Have we not thought about that? There's a few things that I came up with while I'm doing this work, as well as I'm doing this self-awareness check as well. Is it culture? Is it our customs? Is this what the Thomases, the Bollings do? Is this what the Joneses do? Is this what the Fords do? Is this what the pattern or the custom is? Is it customary to have a full plate of rice? Have we for dinner? And no veggies? Is that customary? Is it high in starches? Have we noticed in our family line that type 2 diabetes is chronic throughout our family line? But has this culture and this custom been dictating our patterns? Is pre-diabetes, is diabetes present in our life? What's been governing our thought patterns, which then govern our behaviors? Is it customary to not leave the table until everything has been eaten? And if that's the custom, have we ignored the satiating triggers that our brain sends off to the rest of our bodies to say that we're full? Have we been trained to ignore that? Have we lost that touch of recognizing, listen, I'm actually full and I'm all set, because it was customary that all of us had to finish all the food on our plate, whether we liked it or not. And we knew maybe we would have gotten in trouble if we didn't finish what was on our plate. Did it lead to some behavioral patterns where we're now ignoring our, like I said, those satiating cues that our brain sends to the rest of our bodies to let us know that we're full? Is it adaptive ways that we've developed that have been influencing our behavioral patterns? So perhaps entitlement is an adaptive way. So I've worked so hard. I've worked all day. I did everything that I was supposed to do at my job. The kids are settled. My spouse is settled. Everything is settled in the house. Now it's my time. I'm entitled to this pint of ice cream. I'm entitled to my time, which may cost me only getting about 4 hours of sleep. I'm entitled to this time. So even though it may be self-destructive, I'm still entitled. And guess what? I'm going to get what I want to get when I need to get it, because I'm entitled to it. Has entitlement been an adaptive way in which we've conducted things in our lives, that which then led to other things that weren't good? So sleeping problems may be an issue as a result. Have we drank a 6-can of beer to adapt or even cope with the stress that we've been dealing throughout the day? What have we adapted that has now as a pattern? What has now become an adaptive pattern in our life that has really been triggered from, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, and I don't really want to deal with it. So let me cope now. Let me adapt to the stress by drinking a can of beer, or 6 cans of beers. Those are just some examples of what has now been governing our thought patterns, which then govern our behaviors. Is it excuses? Sometimes we look at things. I'll use food as an example, because that's like a hot topic. We look at certain foods and say, that's nasty. Have we even tried it to say it was nasty? Have we tried it? Maybe it was the seasoning or the lack thereof on it, but we didn't really appreciate the taste of it, not to mention the benefits. Let's use tuna as an example. Not only is it rich in protein, but vitamin D as well. And vitamin D, as we know, it helps, or maybe if you didn't know, it really helps to reduce the risk of cancer overall. Having high level of vitamin D, not only do we the best sources through the sun as well as our food sources, but it reduces significantly the risk of any form of cancers. But do we write things off before we even tried it? What excuse? I don't have time to exercise. But we do have time. We have the same amount of time as everyone else on the earth. Is how we're spending our time, right? We can make these excuses, but we excuse the healthy life and the healthy patterns and the lifestyles that belong to us, the healing that belongs to us, the wellness and the health that belongs to us. We excuse it by making all these excuses that, these things have been governing our behaviors, and they're leading to things that are not healthy and that are not good for our overall being. So these are things that we need to become aware of. We need to even become sober-minded. We need to address it within ourselves, become aware of them, recognize it, be honest about it. Don't beat around the bush. Become sober-minded about it, and then begin to put the course correction in place, so that way our behaviors are not leading to these chronic conditions that we hear about every day on the TV, commercials, migraines, all these different things that can really be prevented by the ways in which we change the way we live. And that comes from changing the way that we think. When we know that health when we know that wellness, when we know that healing belongs to us and we believe it. And we are now putting it in use. And we not only believe it, but we're putting the necessary behavioral patterns and ways of thinking in use. Then we then get to reap the benefits of the harvest of good health, because this is what's important to us. So let's keep these things in mind, that changing our behavior, it requires intention, it requires focus, not perfection. I've had to tell myself this as well. It doesn't require perfection at all. It requires some intention, it requires focus, and it requires changing our mind as well. Before we can change the behavior, we've got to change our mindset. And if adaptive ways, if excuses, if even culture and customs have shaped the ways in which we thought, and these things have now governed our behavioral patterns, we've got to go back and make some adjustments so that we can line up with good health, and we can line up with even the natural laws of our physical body so that we can remain in good health. Let's remember that we're the key change agent in our health. We are the key change agent in our health, and the responsibility falls on us. We need to exercise that dominion over our mind, which then governs our physical body and our behaviors, which then governs our lifestyle. We need to exercise that dominion so that we can remain in good health. So what's the health tip of this week? Let's think about the thoughts that have been leading our behavioral patterns. Those thoughts that have been governing our behavior patterns, let's begin to become aware of them. I know since I've been practicing this myself, I'm a lot more aware. I've become aware of entitlement. Entitlement, you do a good job all day, so I'm entitled to this, but yet it can be self-destructive. So let's be mindful of the things that we've been allowing in our minds, or allowing ourselves to be governed by, that have been influencing these behaviors that have been self-destructive, that has been reversing and cutting down our lifespans. Let's become aware of them so we can become, or be able to change those patterns, transform those patterns, right? By the changing the way that we think, right? The transformation happens by changing the way that we think. So let's do this. We have the choice today between life and death, the blessings and curses. I call on all of heaven to witness the decision that you and I make today. Oh, that we would choose life. So not only you would live, not only I would live, but our descendants would live as well. So that's our children, our children's children, and those who we have oversight over. So go ahead and put hashtag I choose life. Say how you're going to choose life this week. Think about what you're thinking about. Think about the thoughts that have been governing your behaviors. If you really hone into this process, you're going to become more aware of what has been governing your behaviors, as I have become more aware. And as a result, we're going to be able to now start to make some corrective measures in our own life so that we can live in health, have that wellness, and that healing process that needs to take place in our bodies. So go ahead and put hashtag I choose life. Be reminded that this coming Sunday, for those who are in the Hartford area, at the Apostles' House, September 18th, which is this Sunday, is the annual Friends and Family Day. So if you are in the Hartford area, if you are in Connecticut, if you're visiting your families or your friends, this is an outdoor service this coming Sunday. Our service starts at 11 a.m. Bring your lawn chairs with you. Enjoy the service. Enjoy praising and worshiping our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And do it with your family. Bring your family. Bring your friends. This is an opportunity for you and the entire family to come and enjoy the enriching word that's going to come forth, as the theme is all about hope this coming Sunday. So remember to come in and enjoy service with us. And also, while you're there, just be aware that the blood pressure clinic will be in full effect this coming Sunday as well. The blood pressure clinic takes place every third Sunday for about 30 minutes. We'll be there a little longer because it is Family and Friends Day. We'll be there a little longer throughout the after the service rather. So come and get your blood pressure checked. It's free of charge. We're also checking heart rates as well. It's confidential. That information only belongs to you. We don't keep record of it, but this is an opportunity to check in on the overall health of your heart. So check us out. We'll be there. We'll have a tent there at the annual Friends and Family Day. So I pray that you are all blessed. And of course, I'll see you as always next week, Tuesday, 9 a.m. on Health Check, sponsored by Kingdom Health Connection, which is a health promotional resource center where it's all about cultivating a culture of health, wellness, and healing for you and the entire family. I'll see you on next week, Tuesday. Bye-bye.